Bobby Sieventong started playing basketball at the age of 4 in the blue-collar town of Richmond, California. He would be crowned MVP at El Cerrito High School before heading to the East Coast to play for the University of Maine, Fort Kent, where he revolutionized their game. His talents would capture the eyes of scouts in Thailand, and Bobby's greatest honor would come in 2018 when he stepped on the court and represented his ancestral homeland of Laos in the Thai Basketball Super League. COVID shut down the TBSL, but Bobby continues his basketball dream through the club that he founded with his cousin Timmy, the Bay Area Bullies.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of C4 Podcast, Southeast Asian Athlete Achievement Through Adversity. We also are the co-founders of the Lao American Sports Hall of Fame. And whereas that one focused on the individual's achievement, this one talks about, it tells the story, right? I mean, it's great that this person or that person, like myself, it was great that I was able to turn professional, right? But I think more interesting and what more people can relate to is, and maybe inspired by, is my story, how I got there. You know, so that's why we created C4 Podcast. But we also wanted to, open up, the athletes to more of like the Southeast Asian area, like Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, countries like that. But man, did I introduce myself? My name is To Chan Detka, and I'm with my co-host here, John Messina, and John's going to take over. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. As always, I'm glad to be here with my co-host, We have a really special guest today, Bobby Sieventong. And Bobby, I don't know if you know this, I was born just across the bay from you in Daly City, California.
Oh,
nice. Grew up around the Bay Area. So I know where you're from pretty well, Richmond. And Richmond is for those that don't know, it's in the East Bay. It's a very blue collar working town. A lot of refineries, used to be a big shipyard, a lot of steel type production there. And it's long attracted a lot of immigrants. And there's a large Lao community there. And specifically, there's a lot of Khmer people there. And for those that don't know who the Khmer are, they're an ethnic group from Laos. And so Bobby is representing that population, and we're happy to have him on. My grandfather was an immigrant from Italy, and he was a welder for many decades. And I remember him taking me around Richmond, showing me all the big tank farms that he welded and built. He was really proud of that. And so it's a town that's attracted immigrants. And I just watched the movie Coach Carter, and a lot of really cool, accomplished people have come out of there, out of its blue collar roots. It produces those kind of tough, hardy people who go on to achieve great things. And we have one of them on here today, Bobby Sieventong. So Bobby, welcome to the show. We're going to start at the beginning. I know your family came from Laos, but tell us about your childhood, about growing up in Richmond there and your family.
Growing up in Richmond was definitely tough. English wasn't my first language. Your parents, your first language is going to be Laos. So the language barrier was a little hard. But I was, growing up in Richmond, it wasn't really hard to make friends for me because I'm a little outgoing, but I'm also shy as well. So, I started making a lot of friends in Richmond, and that's when I got into sports. In the neighborhood that I'm from, a poverty neighborhood, we have a basketball court. So every day from afternoon to about like 1 a.m, I would be dedicating my time to just, playing basketball or, hanging out with my friends doing things. But, living in Richmond, you can also see the downside of things. You can get into a lot of trouble and all that stuff. So you kind of had to, balance out, your goals and like your priorities. So, I had friends that, did those things, but I was smart enough to kind of shy away from that and just focus on my goals. So yeah, growing in Richmond definitely was pretty tough, but, I had my priorities straight. So that's one good thing.
Hey, Bobby, tell us about how you got into basketball, like during high school, and tell us some of your top accomplishments playing.
So let's start from the beginning. I got into basketball around like 4. My brother, he was into sports. He played football, basketball. So he kind of brought me around. And from there, I just kind of elevated my game. So Now to move forward to high school, I kind of built a name for myself within the Richmond area and in the Bay Area. So, I had a coach from El Cerrito actually recruit me to play on his JV team. They weren't allowing any freshmen or anything on the team. But me and a couple of my friends were actually the only freshmen on the JV team. And then moving on to, my junior and senior year, moving up to varsity, the accomplishments I had was, setting like score records, winning a lot of games, making it to the NCS championship. We fell short, but, that's an accomplishment for us because definitely from where we come from, it's kind of hard to, battle with those type of teams that, have those players that are recruited and all that stuff. So, but my junior, senior year, I ended up winning MVP both years. Not based off of just, talent, but just my leadership. I wasn't always the best player on the team, but I was very vocal and I led by example. So those are one of the things that I feel like kind of stood out to coaches in our leagues was just, Bobby, he's talented, but he also knows how to win. He knows how to help his players get better. So I think those were like the reasons why, coaches voted as me being MVP.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, sorry, John, real quick to number 2. How tall were you and what position did you play?
So going into high school, I was about 4'9". So I was really short. About like 4'9", 4'10". And then my senior year, I was probably about like 5, I want to say like 5'8". So
okay.
I was a really short guard. So height was definitely, one of my disadvantages, but I didn't see it as that. I just used that to my advantage, especially on the court. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you did pretty well in high school, and you of course were able to go on and play in college. And I believe you did a little bit of time at community college, and then ultimately the University of Maine, Fort Kent. Co and I were talking earlier. How does a California guy end up on the opposite end of the country in Maine?
Oh man, a lot of people ask me that. It's funny because my whole college career it's rough. So if you guys want me to kind of explain, so my first year I went to DVC, Diablo Valley College in Concord. Didn't do too well there. Being young, I kind of like, just like, I want to say like gave up on the team and, was like, all right, I'm not getting enough playing time. So let me just, not waste my time and just kind of regroup. So I took a year off. And then after that year off, the coaches at Contra Costa College in Richmond contacted me. I was like, hey, are you playing anywhere? I told them I wasn't. So they ended up helping me get into classes, making up, some credits that I was missing. So I played a year at Contra Costa, which was like one of my best years. Coaching staff up there are amazing. The coach up there is amazing as well. And then right after that, I was talking to some schools, D2, D3 schools. And one of the things was, having your associate's degree. So my time was ticking. People don't know when it comes to college, you have a time. So my time was ticking and I had to get an associate's degree to attend those schools. And then I came across University because one of the former players, the alumni, he played up there and he was the assistant coach. So he contacted me on Facebook and then we kind of communicated back and forth and then went through my transcript. And then from there, I was like, you know what, I trust you because, you went to Contra Costa. So, I know that you're a good person. So making that transition to going to Maine all the way in the East Coast was definitely hard, but, I wanted to play basketball. So like I wanted, time on the court and just to enjoy, my career, my journey. So I ended up just signing to University of Maine at Fort Kent.
Yeah, that's
Tell us now. I'm sure you had to deal with the change in weather, right? It wasn't
man,
it was really warm to cold. Tell us about your college career playing there. What year were you?
I was there. I think 2016, 17, and 18. I was there for 2 years. So yeah, I was there for 2 years. My transition in playing college basketball, being a new player coming in, you have to make a statement, make a name for yourself. I wasn't getting, the recognition, or not the recognition, but I wasn't getting the, the playing time and all that stuff. But I wasn't discouraged by that. So what I did is I showed out in practice, played hard, and contribute to the team and what they need. So eventually, I ended up making it to the starting lineup, and then from there it's been great. So, but yeah, playing up there in Maine was actually really good. Traveling, going to different states, playing all these different teams, and yeah, it was a good experience for me. I definitely enjoyed my 2 years there.
Yeah. What were some of your biggest accomplishments there?
One was actually making academic All-American. That was like a big thing for me. I actually took school really serious when I went to Maine. And then for our team, I ended up being the most valuable player my senior year. But yeah, just those accolades definitely mean a lot. But the main thing was just kind of building a relationship with my teammates. I feel like that was like a big accomplishment, because they say in college those are like your long-term friends, like you'll be friends with them forever. So yeah, that was like a big accomplishment.
Yeah, it's incredible, because I read some of the articles on you done by local papers, and how the coach talked about how you really changed their game by upping the whole tempo for that school and bringing in a whole new style of play they hadn't seen up there before. So that's really incredible. And
Hey, John,
yeah.
I got a quick question about college. And this can go back college, high school, even when you started. Did you experience a lot of, like, let's say a lot of racism, because you were probably the only Laotian basketball player on the team, right?
I was actually thinking about that earlier before this interview, that I didn't really know too many like Asians being on, traveling teams or like on teams in general. Like it was just, Black dominant or, Caucasian dominant. So like, I want to say I was probably one of the Asians that kind of like, made a statement for Asians in the Bay Area. And, I didn't really, face any like racism or anything. Because when it comes to sports, all that stuff goes out the window. Like, it's not, your skin color or anything like that. You're on the court to kind of, accomplish a team goal. So, yeah, I've never dealt with any type of racism or anything like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's good. So, the next part, your career really kicks into high gear after you're out of there. And how did the Thai Basketball Super League find you? And tell us about how you got hooked up with them and headed over to Laos, your ancestral homeland.
I tell this story a lot because people are like, oh, how's it in Thailand? How'd you get out there? It's a crazy, I want to say it's a little crazy story. So right after college, I took a year off from basketball, and after that year, I ended up making up a highlight tape. It was an unofficial, it wasn't like anything. It was basically unofficial highlight tape. So what I did was I just posted on YouTube, and then I had all my friends in the Bay Area just kind of reposting it. And then on Facebook, a coach, he actually coaches, I want to say right now he coaches the Raptors in the TBO or something like that. He reached out to me, and he presented the opportunity of me going out to Thailand and playing for him. And so, I took that chance. What people don't know is I actually, spent money on the flight myself. Like some teams, they'll purchase a flight for you. But at that time, I guess that team didn't have enough money or whatever the case is. So I basically betted on myself, bought my flight. And then, I ended up going out there. And then with that team that I was going to play for, I can't remember the name of them, but I ended up not playing for them. I got waived. So he waived me from the team. And that's when I got picked up by Mont Prabang. And the funny thing is, before all of that, I'm looking up teams, like where can I play at? So I came across the Thailand Basketball League. I'm like, okay, I want to play in this league. And I ended up coming across Mont Prabang. And so I clicked on the video, and I see my teammate, Jose, right? So, I see him, I watched the highlights. I'm like, oh, this is the team I want to play for because I want to represent my country. So it's crazy how that happened, that I ended up, getting on Mont Prabang excuse me, Luang Prabang, and representing my country. So yeah, that's my story on like going overseas, like going through the adversity, the obstacles, and landing on a team that I actually wanted to be on. So
yeah. So you were going to play for a Thai team, which wouldn't sponsor your flight, right? And then you go there, you get waived, and then you get to go to the team that you want. Then you get to represent Laos, right?
Right.
How was it? How was your reception there? I mean, we always hear like, I was born there, but I came here when I was 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you always hear of like, once you're gone, Lao people see you as a foreigner. Like if I were to step back, and head there, they wouldn't see me as another Laotian. They look at me funny, and they may say stuff.
Yeah.
How were the fans' reaction towards you? Did they welcome you with open arms? Did they say, "Man, this guy is an American"? How was it?
I was welcomed with open arms. Like I would say, those people are really cool people. Like they welcome us with open arms. They know we're foreigner. They actually love foreigners. We end up, clicking with a lot of people and building friendships with people in Laos and Thailand. So I would say, yeah, they welcomed us with open arms, and that was one thing that I liked about it, because like you said, they can look at you the wrong way. You're a foreigner. Yeah. They might think you not even Lao. You might be, whatever. So yeah, so they opened, yeah.
You're probably, also too going home with the name Bobby, right? Thinking this guy's an American.
Yeah, right.
That's good. So did your language come back? I know you said you spoke it as a child. Were you able to communicate well?
Honestly, no. I understand it a little bit, but speaking it was definitely difficult. Like,
yeah. Do you have a translator? Did you guys?
We didn't have a translator. What we did is wherever we go, we just try our best to kind of like make sense. Let's say it like that. It's some words that we know, like, we're ordering food, if we want to order chicken, we would, say the word, chicken in Laos or Thai, or whatever the case is. So, I mean, we got around, like, we're able to get around and stuff. But yeah, I could definitely, I'm like, I don't understand nothing, because, it's been a while.
How many teammates did you have? How many people were on the team?
I don't want to get this wrong, but I want to say we had mainly about 8 or 9 people.
And then you guys all stayed close to each other, stayed in hotels?
We stayed in condos in Thailand. We hung out every day, the professional lifestyle is, you practice, go to lunch together, dinner together, just hang out and just create a bond. So yeah, we stayed in the same condos, and yeah.
So you didn't live in Luang Prabang, you lived in Thailand? Is that where?
So our training camp was in Luang Prabang. I was there for 3 weeks before, going to Thailand. So, we stayed in a hotel in Luang Prabang, and then when we got to Thailand, we stayed in condos that the coach provided for us.
Where exactly in Thailand were you? Did you play or stay?
I want to say the first year. I can't remember the first year, but the second year we were downtown, like in Bangkok. So we played at I guess like the bigger stadium in Thailand. Sorry if I don't remember everything, but
no.
We stayed in downtown, so easy access.
Do you remember what teams you were playing by? Was it a country, or the names of cities? How did they name their teams?
So we played countries. There was Singapore. Philippines had a couple of teams, and then obviously Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, I want to say. So yeah, those are the teams that we played.
Cool.
Yeah, some of the top teams were the main team, Thailand's. They had their team, so they are stacked. So
yeah.
What was the name? What was the name of the team?
We played against High Tech. High Tech was the number 1 team in the league. I want to say every year. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Now they would limit the number of foreign players, correct? Correct. To try to balance it and give the locals a shot.
Correct.
Okay.
So I want to say you're allowed to have 2 imports, and luckily they had a rule that you're allowed to also have heritage players on there. So So that's when me and Jose were able to play for Laos because they're allowed to have heritage players.
So you don't go
Yeah.
against their quota of
Mhm.
imports, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah, that's cool. So you were playing with
Interesting.
another Lao American. Tell us, did you and Jose, have a special bond? How was it playing with him?
oh man, we had a great bond. We had a special bond. He was actually my roommate. I want to say both. No, actually, our first year we had our own rooms, but the second year we were roommates. So our bond was really good, and I still talk to him to this day. I just wish him the
Yeah.
best with basketball and everything. But yeah, we hung out all the time, lunch, breakfast, dinner, all that. So yeah, our bond is still pretty good too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. He's over playing in Armenia of all places now,
Right.
tearing it
He's
up
doing
over
great
in
over there too.
yeah, he's killing it over there. I watched some highlights, and we just had a news station reach out to us to try to get his contact information. They want to do a story on him back in his hometown in Maine. So yeah,
Nice.
we're excited about what he's doing as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm excited for him, man. He has a great future. He's really, really talented. I feel like he should have won MVP our second year, but and the first year too. But
You were a guard. What position did Jose play?
we kind of switch. We're combo guards, so 1 and 2. So sometimes I'll bring the ball up, or sometimes he'll bring the ball up. It just depends, like if I feel like Jose is, on a hot streak and he's our main scorer, so I'm like, here, Jose, take the ball, you do your thing, I'm gonna just take the back seat and let you do you. And then there'd be times where I'll take the ball up the court just to control the game and the tempo, depending on how the game is going. So we kind of balance each other out, and that's why I feel like we're like one of the best guards, the combo guards in the league.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it sounds like you had a great experience over there, but you came back to the States a couple years ago, and you did something really cool with your cousin Timmy. You guys actually established your own club and academy. Tell us about the Bay Area Bullies.
So it started, when did it start? Probably like when I got out of high school. So the Bay Area Bullies is just it's just one big family. Like we're not discriminating or anything. Like if you want to be a part of it, you can be a part of it. And our goal is to travel around the country and just play some of the top teams, make a name for ourselves. And we've been doing that. Definitely down the West Coast. We've been traveling to Seattle, Oregon, a lot in SoCal and Vegas, and just playing basketball, having fun with our friends, who we consider family. So that's one of our main goals as being the Bullies.
Is it 3-on-3 or 5-on-5?
5-on-5. We tend to kind of we played in 3-on-3 tournaments before, but it's mainly 5-on-5.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and this is something you're doing right now. What are your goals for the Bullies? What is it that you're trying to accomplish?
Like I said, making a name for ourselves and our players. My cousin Timmy does a good job of marketing and promoting players. Posting all these cool pictures and stuff. So we're hoping to get some of our players overseas, just by our club team. Because with social media nowadays, the biggest thing is marketing. So if people could see, the players that we have and how talented they are, maybe a sports agency might come across that player and just like, hey, I like his game. Let's give him a chance. So just getting the players out there.
Cool.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's the difference with basketball. My daughter's a swimmer, Bobby, and she's going to be going to the University of Pittsburgh, but it's very objective, right? However fast you are, right? It's the time. In basketball, you got to get people have to see you play at the end of the day, right? You got to market yourself. You got to get in front of the coaches. And there are actually several rising stars in the basketball community of Lao descent, and they happen to be mainly women. And we know of a couple. There's one, Jazzy Anusin, playing over at Cal Poly, Division I basketball player.
Oh, nice.
There's a young lady out of high school coming out of Canada that's probably going to go D1. She reached out to us, so we're seeing a lot of good things. Come there.
Can't forget the coach, John.
Well, yeah, Linda Sayavangchan's a legend. We'll be having her on. She's a Division I coach at Creighton University.
Oh, nice.
Just brought them to the best finish in the school's history to the grade 8 or Elite 8 in the NC2A tournament. Yeah, and her and that team are just killing it. Right. She's one of the all-time high scorers at Duke. Broke nearly every record. I'm sorry, not Duke, Drake University, and we're going to have her on. So, yeah, nice. So it's people like her and you, right, that can inspire that younger generation and other kids to show them that they could do it. Right. And that they can achieve those dreams, and that's what we're trying to do with the Hall of Fame, and promoting people like you to show that younger generation. So, with that, I mean, what advice do you have for young kids up and coming who wanna live their dream?
Oh man, just work hard at it. I knew what I wanted growing up. I wanted to, obviously be in the NBA or play overseas. So I knew what it had to take to get there. So, I dedicated a lot of my time to my craft, seeing, not hanging out with friends sometimes, just focusing on, just getting better. So if you really want to get somewhere, definitely work hard towards it. Don't make no excuses. Excuses is one of the things that, kind of, change your mindset and all that stuff. Ask questions too. One thing about that is you can get information that'll help you out in the long run. So ask questions. Well, what can better your game? What you should do and all that stuff. And study your craft. Like if you want to be an NBA player, WNBA, watch certain players that you can mimic and learn from them. Growing up, Allen Iverson was one person I watched. Steve Nash was definitely one person I watched.
What about Jeremy Lin?
Nothing against Jeremy Lin, but those guards, those point guards were top tier point guards. So being that I knew I wouldn't be tall, I was like, I have to figure out how to adjust my game to, playing against a very athletic players. So, those are the players that I studied and it got me to where I'm at. So you have to dedicate a lot of time.
He definitely had to be a source of motivation though, right? Because there aren't that many, again, not just Laotian, but there aren't that many Asian players in the NBA that, we can look up to. And again, right. That's why John and I are doing the Hall of Fame. So nice. Kids can see basketball, football, rodeo, bull rider, bodybuilding, women's fitness, women's basketball. It's just like, I know when I came to the States, it was all in my family, and the old school thought was, just get an education. You're too small, man. You're too small. They're too big. You're too slow, and just get an education. You'll be okay. But I didn't want to be okay. I wanted to live my dream.
Right, exactly. So I always play with a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
So like you say, being Laos and just being like sometimes only Asian on the team, like you just have to play with a chip on your shoulder. So my games resemble from where I come from, who my parents are and all that stuff. So yeah.
I mean, in the beginning for me at bodybuilding, there weren't that many Asians, especially I'm from Chicago. So the Midwest, we don't have any Asians, and like nobody really worked out. But when I asked you the racism question, I really didn't get that either, man. It's when I took off my clothes and I got on stage, people they couldn't say nothing. Both things, wow, right? They couldn't, say, oh, you're not meant to be, you don't belong here. I never got anything like that. It's just like, it was like, hey, you let your physique do the talking, and just like with you, let your playing do the talking.
Right, exactly. That's one thing. Like I dedicated my time to my game, and I made sure that people, respect my game, respect me. So when it comes to racism, definitely never dealt with that. And and I call like a lot of them, my brothers at the end of the day. I don't really see color. Like if you're rocking with me, I'm rocking with you, basically. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, Bobby, that's great, man. Great story. Thanks for inspiring the younger generation, and thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys.
Great. Man, thanks for coming on. Great
Appreciate
story.
You guys.
Take care.
You guys have a good one.
The C4 podcast is brought to you by the Lao American Sports Hall of Fame. Visit us on the web at laoamericansports.com, celebrating the first, inspiring the next.